I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to our ongoing series, our combined series of Operation Freedom Briefing and Dave versus the MSM. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. Thank you for networking this information. And thank you for joining us at davejanda.com, where I post another 4 to 5 video format shows every week, in addition to the archives of our Sunday Operation Freedom radio show. It's always there for you 24/7. On the website, I can go into information that I cannot go into on public place-facing platforms or on the radio. Why? Because of the ongoing deep state choke points in the FCC on the radio side. Wham is complete censorship free. But there are certain issues and certain depth of information that I bring forward on our davejanda.com platform that I can't on the radio because the FCC was shut down wham in a second. Within 12 hours. As far as the videos, forget it. Just look at the view counts. I was on our back end of our YouTube channel the other day, and I watched actually the view counts go down in real time. It's impossible. They don't send out notifications. We're shadow banned. And same thing is actually on Rumble. Same thing is on Facebook. Same thing is on Twitter. Well, we have a little presence. Our original account is still suspended in spite of number of appeals that they won't even address. Why? Because we tell you what you need to know. It's not what the deep state wants you to hear. We tell you information that I garner from the sources I've developed over the last 37 years behind the curtain, in every agency of the United States government and in governments around the world, and through the private sector as well. It's a very unique platform. Go to davejanda.com. Become a member of our premium service content and email service. It's 30 cents a day, $9 a month. Don't tell me you can't afford it. Please. It's less than a half a Bidenomics pizza, for gosh sakes. You cannot not afford it. Just, if you speak to our subscribers, they will tell you the information I present on that platform has saved their lives. Has saved, health-wise, saved their financial lives. It's not an overstatement. We're there. Use it. And if you're at the point where you say you can't afford $9 a month, you're your own worst enemy. If you would have listened to what myself and my guests were talking to you about financial insurance and how to protect yourself from the beginning, we figured it out the other day. You would have over 30 years paid subscription in your pocket right now. Yeah. Today I want to talk about returning America to America First policy, as opposed to what we have been experiencing over a number of decades' time. And that is an America Last policy. The perpetrators of truly this crime against humanity, not just in the United States but around the world, has been the criminal international banking syndicate. The globalist syndicate, the deep state, the New World Order crowd, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. The criminal international banking syndicate is responsible for the ongoing chaos, wars, death, and destruction. It's always been the case. That's their playbook. Because out of their playbook, they get more power, control, and financial resources. And when I say America First, I'm really speaking about freedom first. Freedom. For every person in the United States and every person around the world. So those of you living in Europe or in Asia or in Africa, and we have listeners in over 120 countries every week on our content, just at davejanda.com. This is about freedom. America First is analogous to freedom. Life. Go back to General Smedley Butler from the 1930s. Wrote a book, War is a Racket. And I've spoken about him frequently over the years, but it bears repeating. Because what has adversely affected freedom in many fronts is the warmongering that has occurred on behalf of the deep state to further their power, control, and financial resources. You see, they love war because it does get them more power, control, and financial resources. And who goes to war? All of us. The people that they call, the 99.9% of us that are not part of the syndicate, we're the ones who go to the war, and we're the ones who get injured, and we're the ones who die. The people that they fondly, and I use that term loosely, fondly call useless eaters. And yes, they do call us that. Smedley Butler. War is a racket. A racket is best described, I believe, as something that is not what it seems to the majority of the people. Only a small inside group knows what it's about. It's conducted for the benefit of the very few at the expense of the masses. I wouldn't go to war again as I've done to protect some lousy investment of the bankers. There are only two things we should fight for. One is the defense of our homes, and the other is the Bill of Rights. War for any other reason is simply a racket. It may seem odd for me, a military man, to adopt such a comparison. Truthfulness compels me to. I spent 33 years and 4 months in active military service as a member of this country's most agile military force, the United States Marine Corps. I served in all commissioned ranks from second lieutenant to major general. And during that period, I spent most of my time being a high-class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street, and for the bankers. In short, I was a racketeer, a gangster. I suspected I was just part of a racket at the time. Now I'm sure of it. Like all members of the military profession, I never had a thought of my own until I left the service. My mental faculties remained in suspended animation while I obeyed the orders of higher up. This is typical with everyone in the military service. During those years in the military, I had, as the boys in the back room would say, a swell racket. Looking back on it, I feel that I could have given Al Capone a few hints. The best Capone could do was operate his racket in 3 districts in the Midwest in the United States. I operated on 3 continents. Yeah, Smedley Butler. And he wasn't the only one who warned us. No. Remember General Eisenhower, his farewell address on January 17th, 1961. He warned us. He warned us on many fronts. Because war ends up not being an America First operation. No. It means that the taxpayers are yet again on the hook for another very expensive event from a financial standpoint and from a human standpoint. But boy, the banksters, they get more power, control, and financial resources out of it. And so does the military-industrial complex that's closely linked to the banking syndicate. They're all part of the deep state. Here's what he said in his farewell address in 1961. Quote, "In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist." And let's not forget about the Monroe Doctrine. The syndicate wants you to forget about the Monroe Doctrine from 1823. It was a reciprocal statement that Europe stay out of the Americas And we stay out of their and everyone else's internal affairs. But time and time again, we violated that principle. Look at what's happening with the Russia-Ukraine situation. Look at what's happening in the Middle East. Look what's happened around the world. Of all the folks I dealt with in D.C. over the past 37 years, the most honest person I had the opportunity to deal with was Dr. Ron Paul, former congressman. And through his institute, him and Jeff Sachs, geopolitical analyst, put forward a blueprint for peace, stating that structural reforms are needed. End the CIA, and this is about America first. End freedom first. End CIA covert operations. Intelligence is necessary. Regime change is not. Both foreign and domestic. I know their charter says they shouldn't be involved in domestic affairs. Really? What about November 1963? Yeah, right. Just one little hint of their involvement in many domestic operations. Depoliticize the intelligence agencies. Close overseas military bases. They waste resources and create enemies. Aggressively seek diplomacy. We need diplomats, not bombers. And educate the public. The American people must understand our real interests. Our government must stop listening to the war profiteers, the military-industrial complex, the banking complex, and start listening to the people. We need brave leaders, honest media, and informed citizens. That's how peace begins, and that's how we put America first. And one of the big problems, as they mention, are the intelligence agencies. The CIA and other related intelligence agencies in our country and frankly around the world are the origin and source to close to 99% of the chaos and instability and death and destruction in the world. They don't want you to know that. And during the Reagan administration, William Casey was the director of the CIA. When I first got to D.C. in 1988, I wasn't there that long. And I was told about Casey. And the story I was told, as director of the CIA, this was much earlier in the Reagan administration. I think it was around 1981, they mentioned to me, that Bill Casey was in the West Wing of the White House, in particular in the Roosevelt Room. And he made the statement, quote, "We'll know our disinformation program through the agency is complete when everything the American public believes is false," end quote. They want you to believe that they're all about intelligence gathering, not regime change. And they have nothing to do with America first, freedom first. Sad but true. And we can even see it most recently about the intelligence agencies undermining peace, undermining freedom, promoting war. We just, within the past couple months, had the meeting with President Trump and Vladimir Putin in Anchorage, Alaska. Of note, prior to that meeting, that it was put forward through a U.S. directive, through the White House, that all Russia-Ukraine peace negotiation information not be shared with the intelligence agencies throughout the world. In particular, they named the Five Eyes. The Five Eyes are an intelligence alliance comprised of the United States, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the UK. Why? Because they know that the intelligence agencies undermine peace, because they get more funding. They get more power when there's chaos and instability. Ron Paul again. President Trump should return to America First foreign policy. After 4 years of unnecessarily confrontational foreign policy under Biden, Americans elected Donald Trump in part for his promise to put America first at home and overseas. He promised a war-weary America that he would start no new wars and would get us out of the existing ones. 9 months into his second administration, it appears his promise remains to be fulfilled as his approval rating has started to slip. There is still some time for President Trump to change course and fulfill his promises to the American people. Put Ukraine and Russia on notice that from this point, the United States is withdrawing from any role in the conflict. Yeah. And not sending long-range tactical missiles, right? Is a step backward, not forward. Let the Europeans work it out if they feel it's in their interest. Getting us out of NATO is also a good idea. End U.S. financial and military support for Israel that cannot seem to get along with its neighbors. Perhaps without the U.S. backstopping Israel's warmongering, the country and its leadership would start to reflect on wisdom of starting wars with multiple countries in its neighborhood. Stop trying to overthrow South American dictators and South American political leaders and everyone else the neocons have placed on the hit list. End all sanctions and open up trade instead. The failed socialist economic policies of the dictators and the political elite in South America will be their undoing, not American sanctions or saber rattling. America first above all means, quote, Ron Paul, just come home, end quote. It's that simple. And let's protect the home front. The end of September, beginning of October, it was actually October 1st, President Trump and Secretary of War Hegseth went to Quantico. They brought in all the 800 generals and admirals around the world for this meeting. There was one particular quote at this meeting that the media has pushed aside. But you need to hear it. Because it was about America first, this statement. And here's what the President Trump said. He said that military's core mission is supposed to be, quote, defending the homeland, end quote, not policing the globe. Sounds like something Ron Paul would say, isn't it? Yeah, good. Anytime President Trump wants to channel Ron Paul, that's a win for every American and every person in the world. He went on. He then said, we are, quote, under invasion from within by a uniformless domestic enemy. And it's called the deep state. And it has many tentacles. President Trump on October 1st, 2025 told us exactly what Smedley Butler was telling us in 1933. Yeah. Bunch of racketeers. Folks, it's key that we push the America First freedom agenda. What did Smedley Butler say in 1933? The only two things worth going to war for is to protecting your own homeland and protecting the Bill of Rights. Freedom. Constitution. He's right then. He's right now. So that's where all of us come in. President Trump, unfortunately, has a chief of staff, Susie Wiles, who works for the syndicate. It's very similar to what he had in the first administration with all of his chiefs of staff, from Reince Priebus all the way through Mark Meadows. They blocked people and information from getting to him. When he gets the information and gets the right people in front of him, he makes good decisions. Unfortunately, many times, some really bad people get in front of him with bogus information. And then, well, things don't work out well. And we end up doing things that are not an America First agenda. One thing he does do is he goes to the switchboard, as I understand it, every day he's in the White House. How many calls we getting? What are they calling about? What are they saying? That's where you come in. Call the White House. Tell them you support the president. You support our country. You support America First. But you have some concerns. And you want them to stick to the knitting of America First. Protecting the homeland and protecting the Bill of Rights. And as far as the warmongering elsewhere, let whoever is having the problems over there sort it out themselves. You need to call your governor. You need to call your member of the House and Senate in Senate in D.C. and also in your state and tell them the same thing. We're watching. And if you don't do the right thing, well, we're going to find somebody to run against you in the primary that is about America First. It's that simple. It's that simple. And again, this is not just about the shores in the United States. You need to do the same if you live in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in South America, wherever. You need to call your representatives and say, or whatever you want to call them, we're watching. You do what's right for our people. Stop the warmongering and promote peace and prosperity. Protect our homeland. It's universal. But the deep state doesn't want you to hear about that. They don't want you to know about anything I spoke about today or ever, any day. That's why those of us that are not controlled opposition, those of us that have no ties to the intelligence agencies or to the syndicate, get targeted, get threatened, get censored, get suppressed, and you never see us, any of us, on the bought-off lamestream fake media, and you'll notice that our channels are the ones that have ever diminishing view counts because of the algorithms that are placed on our content, as opposed to the channels where they have huge views and are promoted. Be careful of them. Be very careful of them. This is about America First. If we don't pursue this, then our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren will have no future. It's that simple. The good news is I believe in us, you and me. We're getting this done. Well, let's do it. We are available 24/7 at DaveJanda.com. At a minimum, go there for our news ticker. It's a news ticker you'll see no other place. Our IT team set it up, and boy, the deep state hates it because it provides a ticker of the news that you'll never see on any other news ticker on the planet. And then if you hit on a particular news item, the reference will come up. Just another benefit at DaveJanda.com. Join us. You'll love it. You'll also be safer and healthier. Fact. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.